So you're thinking of moving to Chilliwack, British Columbia. Well, before you book that moving truck, here are some of the downsides to living in Chilliwack that you should know about. And who better to inform you of all the cons of living in Chilliwack than a born and raised resident of the city itself. My name is Jeremy Van Werden. I'm a local real estate agent working in Chilliwack and the surrounding areas. If you have not yet subscribed to my channel, I recommend you do that now so that you can be the first to learn about the Chilliwack real estate market. And now let's get underway with my list of the 7 downsides that you should know about before moving to the city of Chilliwack. The first reason, and the one that you're probably not surprised by, is the Chilliwack weather. If you're gonna live in Chilliwack, you have to be okay with the rain. And that's because on average, we get about 170 to 180 centimeters of rain every year. And out of the 365 days in the year, about 174 of those have rain. So that means about 47% of our days are rain days. Now, one misconception about the Chilliwack weather is that we get a lot of snow. While we do get more snow than the cities west of us, such as Langley and Surrey and Vancouver, don't expect a long white winter. I would estimate that each winter we have somewhere between 2 and 3 weeks of snow. During these times, main roads and higher risk roads such as mountain roads get priority for snow clearing, and smaller communities or quieter streets may not get snow plowing at all. If the snowfall is particularly heavy, the city usually shuts down for a couple days to give time for the snow to melt and for the city to clear it. And in that sense, it's really not that different from what happens in other cities in the lower mainland. Number 2 is that if you don't intend on buying a home in Chilliwack, you may have a hard time finding a rental property. The current vacancy rate in Chilliwack is very low, and so when an affordable rental comes on the market, it is snatched up quickly. Tenants are vying to get into these rentals, and property management companies are inundated with requests beyond what they're able to service. And when you do find a rental, do not expect to get a discount. You're going to be paying a premium for rent. If you're wondering exactly how much you should expect to pay if you're looking to rent a home in Chilliwack, head down to the description below and I'll put some specific numbers there. Number 3 is the smell. And if you've driven through Chilliwack on Highway 1, you've probably noticed it. And with 30% of Chilliwack's economy coming from agriculture, it should come as no surprise that there are tens of thousands of dairy cows, pigs, and chickens that also call this place home. Specific times of year will be worse than others, especially spring and fall when they're spreading the manure on the fields. And of course, if you're living in an area that has proximity to farmland, you're probably more likely to smell it there as well. And lastly, I'll say that you will get used to it, but keep in mind that's coming from someone who from middle school worked on a dairy farm. And number 4 is mosquitoes. Although I would say that this one is a minor concern, due to our proximity to the Fraser River and its various backwaters, there are certain areas of Chilliwack that will get bad mosquitoes in that June, July time of year. To be honest, I wouldn't let this one scare you off because there definitely are areas where you can find a home that you're not going to be inundated with mosquitoes. And coming in at number 5, if you like to party, you're going to want to know about our lack of nightlife. Since we're not a large urban center, there are limits to the amount of nightlife you're gonna find here. Even on weekend nights, you'll find that the city starts to quiet down by 10 or 11 p.m. and that even a lot of breweries and restaurants are closing their doors before midnight. I will say that there's still a handful of pubs and bars that stay open till 2 a.m. if that's the scene that you're looking for. And for number 6, let's talk about homelessness. While this isn't a problem that's unique to Chilliwack, it is still something worth noting. Over the past years, while our population has been increasing steadily, so has our homeless population. Currently, they estimate that there are about 400 to 500 homeless people living within Chilliwack. The city does have a decent number of beds, shelters, and feeding programs available for the homeless population, so you won't see many tents and shelters set up in plain view throughout the city like you see in Vancouver. The far majority of the homeless population is located around that downtown core of Chilliwack, and so if that's something you want to avoid when purchasing a home, I can't emphasize enough that it's important to work with a local agent who knows the pockets that you should be avoiding when purchasing a home. And to wrap up with number 7, it's that Chilliwack is a small city. We are not a bustling urban center. It's only in the past few years that the population of Chilliwack has surpassed 100,000 people. So when it comes to dining out, shopping, and entertainment, you're definitely gonna have limited options here in Chilliwack. Although I must say that as the city has changed from the sleepy town that I grew up in, options have been increasing. So there you have your list of reasons why you should not move to Chilliwack. But of course, if the pros didn't outweigh the cons, we would not be one of the fastest growing cities in all of Canada. The purpose of this video is to inform you of what it's like to live in Chilliwack with both its upsides and its downsides, so that when you arrive here, there are no surprises. Now remember, every city has its downsides, but you'll likely find that the pros outweigh the cons in the case of Chilliwack, as I have found, and that Chilliwack is a great place to live and raise a family. If you're considering moving to and purchasing a home in Chilliwack, I would love to be your local expert. Let's connect over text message, phone call, Zoom, or email. I'll put all of those down below in the description. Reach out to me and it'll be my pleasure to help you find the perfect home in the perfect location.